High school diploma at 16. Pre-med track at university the same year. 2 businesses, 2 national entrepreneurship awards, and a presidential service award, all before I could legally drive myself anywhere. These are just a few of my accomplishments, and I'm not sharing them with you to impress you or to brag on myself, as much as we all love to do that. Because I really want you to hold that image of success in your head. The next part of my story is that I quit. And I need you to understand exactly what I was walking away from before any of what I say next can make sense. Because I'm not here to lecture you on success or give you 5 new habits you can add in your life right now to become the most productive version of yourself. What I really want to share is something that I wish was in any of the curriculum I was taught or any of the long lectures between my family and mentors. What I really want to share with you is something nobody ever taught me. Nobody taught me how to quit well. And nobody's taught you either. I believe that gap has done so much more damage to many of us in this room than we might realize. So by the time I'm finished, I want to leave you with 3 questions. Just 3 honest questions I wish somebody had handed me before I spent years of my life figuring them out on my own. So in order to do that, in order to make you understand why those questions matter, I'm going to delve a bit deeper into my story. But first I need to ask you something, and I need you to actually think about this, not just nod along. But is there anything in your life, big or small, that you're staying in, not because you believe in it, not even because you enjoy it, but simply because of what you've invested so far? You feel that you've invested too much time, money, emotion, and now walking away feels like throwing away all of your hard work and progress. Maybe it's a degree. You're 3 years into it, and you know something feels off, but you're almost finished, right? So you tell yourself to just keep pushing. Maybe it's a career that you've worked your whole life to get into, and now that you've finally arrived, you can't figure out why it doesn't feel the way you thought it would. Maybe it's a relationship, an identity, a version of yourself that you've been performing for so long that you've forgotten it was a performance in the first place. What I've just described is something that behavioral economists call the sunk cost fallacy. The very human tendency to continue investing in something solely because of what we've already put in. Logically, we may know that what we've already invested so far is gone. We may also know that what we're investing in is no longer a fit for us. But the truth is that knowledge and information don't matter if you don't feel truly free to act on it. We as a society celebrate stories of perseverance. We love to hear about the underdogs, the great comebacks, people who kept pursuing their dreams after being told no time and time again. But we've swung the pendulum too far, because while those stories matter, now we're at a place where the highest achievers in any room, the people who have built the most, feel they have the most to lose, simply by admitting that the direction they're moving in is no longer the right one for them. I know because I've been one of those people before. And maybe some of you in this room are too. But what we don't talk about is the cost of staying, the cost of your clarity, and the erosion of your energy towards something that might have once been a great passion. So back to me. 10 years old, my kitchen counter, some YouTube videos, playing around in a little bowl, trying to make some skincare that I could enjoy that didn't irritate my severe eczema. After I perfected that, I turned it into my first business, Brielle Handmade Goods. And by the time I was a little older, I had added a second business to my plate, a youth entrepreneurship program called Passion to Purpose that reached over 200 kids. I'd also put on multiple successful youth markets, as well as judging the occasional pitch competition on the side. I was also the face of it all, the videos, the pitches, the constant online presence. And I tried to force myself to love it for a very long time. But one day, I sat down at my desk to work on my business, and I began procrastinating by writing an essay. for one of my classes, and I found myself genuinely enjoying it, not just pushing through it, but immersing myself in the words and the research. And I know that sounds absurd because who procrastinates by doing homework? But the ridiculousness of it all made me realize that I'd been avoiding my business for months. Not because the work had gotten harder. In fact, some of the substitutes that I'd chosen were just as hard, if not more. The problem was that I'd become the brand, and the brand had become me. I'd just outgrown that identity, and I no longer wanted to do that specific work. So, if someone were in my shoes, they might just download a productivity app, give themselves another pep talk about commitment and discipline. And that might work sometimes. But oftentimes it doesn't because we're not addressing the root cause. Psychologist Adam Grant calls what I was experiencing languishing. The feeling of going through the motion day after day with no real purpose, an emptiness where something might have once held weight. Laziness has one solution: push harder. But pushing harder in the wrong direction doesn't get you there faster. It just exhausts you on the way to the wrong place. Languishing has a different solution because your attention is one of the most honest things about you. It doesn't lie like your plans and commitments do. I just didn't know how to read that yet, but I was going to learn. So because I had a skincare business, I decided that dermatology was right for me. It fit the identity I'd been building all throughout middle school and high school, all A's in the sciences, a genuine love for the subject. It made sense on paper. So I went into college with a plan, and I stuck to it. I showed up to all of my chemistry classes, math classes, even those were definitely the worst. I showed up to those as the hopeful learner I wanted to be. But I noticed course after course that my attention was shifting and my love for the sciences was waning. No longer did I find joy in the chemistry and the equations, but it was in social studies, why people did what they did, rather than how their bodies happened to function. So what really forced my switch from pre-med to pre-law was a question I had been avoiding asking myself. What is sticking with this plan costing me? Not in anybody else's view, not on paper, but internally. On my energy walking to class on a random Tuesday. In the fervent learner who was genuinely excited about the sciences that felt harder and harder to reach every day. I had to ask myself, was staying with this plan worth that cost? I decided to stick with what I had left and make the switch. Another thing that I had to wrestle with was that each time I quit, people I loved got hurt. Because there were people who had poured so much love and belief into the version of me who said that she wanted to work on her 2 businesses, the version who was committed to pre-med. But the truth is that those people were working off of an old map, an old version of me that I no longer fit into. And no amount of devotion from anyone can make the wrong room fit the person you're becoming. So I want you to ask yourself as well, is there anyone in your life whose devotion, approval, praise is causing you to stay in the wrong room? Because a lot of the times it's not logic, but who's standing next to us. The truth is, though, that continuing to perform a version of yourself that you no longer fit isn't loyalty. It's not necessary. The people who truly love you will stay with you no matter what you are, because they care about you as a person, not the position you hold, the title you have, or the degree that you're working towards. So, don't continue to perform a version of yourself that you're not, because the people who love you will be there. But coming back to that person who you were before, coming back to the person who you want to become, is much harder to shake back from. So I promised by the time I was done, I would leave you with 3 questions, and I want to make good on that now. I'm almost done. But those 3 questions are, number 1, is it the obstacle or the direction? Those are 2 very different questions with 2 very different answers. Number 2, what is staying costing you? And number 3, who are you staying for? Is it you? Is it really you? If you answer these questions honestly and clearly, they can uncover so much truth about who you truly are. A few months ago, I was sitting at my desk, nothing exciting, once again, just a list of courses in front of me: anthropology, public health, policy. Pretty boring, maybe it might sound like to you, but for me, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt excited for the upcoming work, for the upcoming semester. And that small feeling told me all I needed to know. Landing somewhere true doesn't have to feel like a huge revelation or a lightning bolt moment. Sometimes it's in quiet moments like those, where you know the direction you're headed in is the right one for you. I'm 18 years old now, and I don't know everything. I don't have everything figured out. But I'm more excited about where I'm going than I have been in a long, long time. Not despite the quitting, but because of it. Thank you.